Eridu, one of the world's most ancient megacities, predates the first known civilizations and even the pyramids of Giza. For more than 2 millennia, it lay hidden beneath the sands of the Mesopotamian desert. But recent scientific discoveries have revealed something extraordinary, a vast system of more than 4,000 canals surrounding the ancient city. These waterways once supplied over 700 farms that operated between the 6th and early 1st millennium BCE, painting a far more advanced picture of early urban life than historians previously imagined. The city itself dates back to around 5400 BCE and is described in the Sumerian king list, an ancient record carved into clay, as the home of the very first kings and humanity's earliest true urban center. According to Sumerian belief, Eridu wasn't just built by people, it was created by the gods when they chose to descend and dwell on earth. Its significance in Sumerian myth was so immense that for centuries many assumed it was purely legendary. One well-known tale even claims the heavens sent a catastrophic flood to destroy humanity because humans had grown too loud and disruptive. A new study has now shown that the mighty Euphrates River once served as the city's lifeline. Researchers reconstructed the ancient environment and uncovered an incredibly organized system of artificial irrigation canals. They found around 200 major canals that drew water from the Euphrates, funneling it into thousands of smaller channels that delivered water across the landscape. Using satellite imagery, drone surveys, soil analysis, ancient records, and remote sensing technology, the team mapped the entire network. The farms nourished by this system varied dramatically in size, from modest plots of about 5,000 square feet to sprawling fields over 200,000 square feet. The main canals stretched more than half a mile, with some extending beyond 5 miles, while the smallest channels ran only a few dozen feet. In ancient Mesopotamia, rivers were the heart of survival, and early farmers had to master the skill of guiding water from these rivers into their fields. What began as simple dugout trenches evolved over generations into an enormous, intricate irrigation network, proof of the ingenuity and determination of Eridu's earliest inhabitants. The entire irrigation system of ancient Eridu functioned through a clever use of gravity. Water naturally flowed down from the elevated banks of the Euphrates, and small breaks along the river's edge allowed it to spill across the fields. Researchers still aren't sure when each individual canal operated, and it's highly unlikely that all 4,200 channels were in use at the same time across such a long stretch of history. In its prime, Eridu was not only a religious hub but also a thriving trade center, thanks to its once strategic position along the Persian Gulf. Much of its economy revolved around fishing, supported by the life-giving Euphrates. Archaeologists uncovered fishing nets, net weights, and even entire bundles of dried fish, evidence of a bustling industry. Among the most remarkable finds were small models of reed boats, some of the earliest physical proof of intentionally constructed watercraft anywhere in the world. For centuries, Eridu flourished. But around 600 BCE, the city was abandoned, and the reasons remain one of its lingering mysteries. It's believed the land simply couldn't keep up with the constant strain from residents, merchants, and pilgrims who repeatedly drained its resources. The environment needed time to recover, time the people could no longer afford to give. The final blow came when the Euphrates changed its course, cutting the city off from its essential water supply and forcing its population to move on. Long after Eridu had vanished beneath the desert, a British official arrived in 1854 to inspect a group of mysterious mounds known as tells, heaps of debris left behind by ancient settlements. At first, J.E. Taylor wasn't impressed. He had hoped for dramatic ruins or grand inscriptions, but with limited time, he only recorded simple structures, bits of walls, old drains, stone platforms, and fragments of limestone columns decorated with tiny mosaic cones. What he didn't realize was that these unremarkable-looking hills concealed one of humanity's oldest cities. The British Museum took interest, but it wasn't until nearly a century later that large-scale excavations began. When Iraqi authorities took up the project, they set their sights on Mound 1, a gigantic tell towering as high as an 8-story building, hoping it would reveal more about the earliest chapters of Mesopotamian civilization. As excavations continued, archaeologists soon uncovered the remnants of an unfinished step pyramid dating to the end of the 3rd millennium BCE. Beneath it, layer after layer of human activity appeared, each representing an earlier chapter of Eridu's long history. They reached strata from the Uruk period and even deeper levels belonging to a time before the Sumerians, what researchers call protohistory. In these ancient layers, they found repeated reconstructions of the Temple of Enki, the city's primary shrine. For more than 2,000 years, generations rebuilt this sacred structure over and over again. Whenever one temple collapsed or decayed, a larger and more sophisticated version rose on the same spot. By the mid-4th millennium BCE, these temples had grown enormous, far more advanced than anything humans elsewhere were constructing at the time. Meanwhile, Eridu itself was evolving into a complex urban society with defined social classes. Eventually, instead of rebuilding the temple yet again, the people constructed a step pyramid directly over the accumulated ruins. Even after Eridu declined, the site appears to have remained spiritually significant. Archaeologists uncovered pottery dating to the 2nd and 1st centuries BCE, suggesting continued ritual activity long after the city's population had vanished, even though no homes from that later period were found. The Sumerians, as these early inhabitants are known, were remarkably inventive. Around 1500 BCE, they created the cedar plow, a revolutionary farming tool that allowed a farmer to plow and plant seeds simultaneously using animals like oxen to pull it. This tool even came with its own set of written instructions. The Sumerian Farmer's Almanac offered practical advice on soil preparation, irrigation, and proper fieldwork, helping farmers produce larger harvests. These agricultural innovations supported greater populations, encouraged city growth, strengthened political organization, and inspired increasingly elaborate religious practices. As their cities expanded, so did their achievements in writing, mathematics, and spiritual culture. 5,000 years ago, the Sumerians had already developed cuneiform, one of the earliest writing systems known to humanity. And new discoveries from the region continue to shed light on this ancient world. Recently, archaeologists found a collection of administrative clay tablets in another Sumerian city, documents that prove organized bureaucracy existed at least 4,000 years ago. These tablets were stored inside a state archive built of mud brick, complete with rooms that functioned like government offices. Before these discoveries, historians had only fragments of understanding about how the world's first empire, the Akkadian Empire, actually operated behind the scenes. These newly uncovered records finally offer a glimpse into the administrative machinery of the earliest empire in human history. Thanks to the recent excavations at Gersu, archaeologists now have the clearest and most definitive evidence yet of how the Akkadian Empire actually functioned behind the scenes. These newly uncovered tablets reveal an incredibly detailed administrative system that tracked nearly everything: deliveries, expenses, and inventories of goods ranging from fish and sheep to grains, textiles, and even precious stones. Among them were population records listing the names, occupations, and family details of men, women, and children, essentially an early form of a census. From this information, researchers learned that women played an essential role in Akkadian society, with some holding high-ranking positions such as priestesses. The tablets also describe a diverse range of professions. There were highly skilled workers like stonecutters, as well as individuals responsible for simpler tasks, including temple sweepers. Some tablets even contained architectural layouts, agricultural field plans, and maps of canal systems, strong proof that the empire relied on sophisticated planning and advanced organization. Despite its strength, the Akkadian Empire eventually weakened when its cities began to rebel, reclaiming their independence. After roughly 150 years of dominance, the empire finally collapsed. Today, researchers are meticulously cleaning, preserving, and translating the newly discovered tablets to understand their full meaning. These records are expected to replace older, incomplete theories and offer a far more accurate picture of how Akkadian power, governance, and everyday life truly worked. And that wraps up the story for now. If this journey into the ancient world sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. And if you're hungry for more discoveries, check out the videos waiting for you next. There's always something new to explore.